Good morning. So today, instead of doing a word problem, I really wanted to show you something that is going to be in our next module, but we're out of time because we only have a few more days left of school. So I thought today what I would do is I would start to show you the next concept, and then we'll carry it into the next few days before our lesson of the day. So go ahead and set up the problem just like this. And we're going to be working with 56 plus 45. And what I want us to do is I want us to solve this in a few different ways. And I want to show you something new. So go ahead and get that set up and then we'll get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw our quick tens and our ones. Now, watch how I do it. I'm going to draw 56. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. But watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my 6 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to make sure there's room for the tens that are in my next number. Because remember, we put our tens together and then we put our ones together. We have to stay organized, okay? So I drew 56. Now I'm going to draw 45. So remember, I have 4 tens, 5 ones. So I'm going to draw my 4 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I have to draw my 5 ones. Now, I'm not just going to draw 5 ones over here. I got to stop and think. I have 6 ones here. How many more do I need to add to 6 to make it a 10? So I need to know, what is my friend of 10? 6 plus something equals 10. If you said 4, you're absolutely right. 6 plus 4 is 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So out of that 5, I'm going to put 4 of them here and then the extra over here. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can go ahead and make this a 10. Now, let's see what we have. Let's count together. You ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 101. Now, how do I write that? Well, let me show you. So, here's our tens and ones frame. Okay? Now, what do I have? I have 1, 1, but I have 10 tens. Now, you know how we couldn't have 10 ones? We had to bring it over to the tens. So I couldn't write 10 here. I had to leave the 0 here and carry that over. Same thing happens here. So here we are. We have 10 tens. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this out of here. I'm going to draw a line here and make this hundreds. So now I moved my 1 over here. So now I have 101. That's how you write 101. Because remember, if I covered up the 100 and I was just writing the number 1, doesn't that look like 1? Right? So I want you to remember that. So we have 101. Now, what I want to do is I want to solve this a few different ways again. So we have 56 plus 45. So go ahead and rewrite it just like this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use our tens, we're going to use our tens and ones way, okay? So 45 is smaller than 56. So we're going to break this down into tens and ones. So I want you to hear it. 45, 45. Do you hear it? And if we look here, we know there are 4 tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 5 ones. So now what you're going to do is you're going to circle this on up, and we need to add 56 plus 40, okay? Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take your tens right here. So I have 5 tens plus 4 more tens. 5 plus 4 more. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? So we now have 9 tens. And remember, our ones aren't changing. 6 ones. But we're not done there. We're going to bring the 96 down, and we're going to add it to the number we didn't use, which is 5. So we're going to punch 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101. That's where you need to understand and know how to count past 100. Okay? And remember, once you pass 100, it starts all over again. 100, 101, 102, 103, and so on. Okay? Now, you'll notice I came up with the same answer. Now, let's take a look over here. I'm going to write it again. So we have 56 plus 45. Now, watch what I'm going to do. This time, I'm going to make a 10. Okay? Now, we know that we're trying to bring this number up to the closest 10. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, right? So 56 is closest to 60. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this down. And again, I'm looking at this digit right here. What does 6 need to bring it up to a 10? Well, we did that here in our picture, didn't we? We gave it 4 more. So I know 4 of the 45 is coming over here. It's kind of tricky now, isn't it? But watch this. I know those are 1s, and I know these are 1s. If I have 5, and I take 4 away, I'm just left with 1. So I know my 1s, I have 1, and the 4 doesn't change. The 10s are the same. So 41 and 4 is what we have. We're going to go ahead and circle our 10. So we have 56 plus 4, which gives us 60. Remember, we're bringing it up to 60. Now, here's the tricky one. 60 plus 41. But again, if we break it up into the 10s and 1s, you're going to notice that it's easy to do. Now, the first thing we do is, let me look at my 1s. My 1s aren't changing. 1 plus 0 is still 1. And now I have 6 plus 4. I know 6 plus 4 is 10. Look at my answer. Isn't it the same as what I've got in the other 3 ways? Right? So, let's look at it one more way. This time I'm going to write it like this. Okay? I'm going to do this and put my box here. Okay? Now, I have 6 plus 5. Let's punch it out. Or, even better yet, couldn't I do, well, I know 6 plus 4 is 10. So 6 plus 5 must be 1 more, which is 11. But let's prove it. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11. I can't write 11 down here. So I have to do 1, 10, 1, 1. So now I'm going to do side caret here. 5 plus 1 more is 6. And then I can't forget about this number down here. So 6 plus 4 more is 10. And there's my answer, 101. So there are several different ways to come up with our answer. I wanted to make sure that you saw this, though, using hundreds instead of just 10s and 1s. In the next section, we're going to take a little closer look at these hundreds and go from there. Okay, so here we are with a 120s chart. And you'll notice that I wrote the number 113. And what I want to do is I want us to look at the number 113 and break it down into what it is. So the first thing I want us to do is to take a look along our hundreds chart, actually our 120 chart. And I want you to notice how you write the numbers up to the number 13, okay? And what does the number 13 mean? Well, the number 13 is actually, if I have my 10s and 1s chart, I have 10s and 1s, I have 1 10 and 3 1s. Would you agree with that? So here we are. We have 1 10 and 3 1s. Now, I have the number 113. So let's take a look at our hundreds chart. We go all the way through, we get to 100, okay? Now, it starts all over again. If I take the 100 out of it, okay, it starts to repeat just like it does here. So look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The only difference is it adds 100 to it. So it's adding another place value. So again, we add the hundreds here. So I have a 100, a 10, and 3 ones. Okay, now if I'm looking at this, what I also could say is this, because I know if I had the number 13, I know I break it down into 10 and 3, or I could say 10 plus 3. But what happens when I have the number 113? Well, guess what? I need to break it down into 3 different things. I have to break it down into 100, 10, and then 3. So it's almost like saying 100 plus 10 plus 3. Now, watch what happens. To make the number 103, 113, what I have to do is I basically just get rid of my zeros. Okay, so watch this. I have 100 plus 10 plus 3. And you're going, well, I can't do that. You absolutely can do that. Watch this. Watch this. I'm going to do my ones first like I always do. I have 2 zeros and a 3. So that means that this 3 doesn't change, does it? That 3 is going to stay a 3 because 3 plus 0 is 3. Here's my 10s. You've added 10s before. What's 0 plus 1? Or I could say 1 plus 0. 1. So there's my 13. Now, here's my 100. Well, I don't have any here or any here, so 1 plus 0 is 1. So guess what? There's my 113. So I want you to start looking at it. You know how we're looking at numbers, our 2-digit numbers as 10s and 1s. I want you now to start looking at your numbers when you see the numbers above 100 as hundreds, 10s, and 1s. And remember, when you're writing your numbers, the numbers after the 1 don't change. It's just as if you're adding here. The only difference is you have to put a 0 in front of the single digit numbers. That's it. So I hope this clears things up. I know this is just a quick introduction to it. What we're going to do is we're going to try to work on these numbers over the next few days in our videos. So hold on for our lesson. All right, we're ready for our lesson for today. So what we're going to do is we're looking at halves and quarters again. But what we're doing is we're comparing the two. We're trying to figure out which one is bigger and which one is smaller. So basically which one has more than the other. So let's take a look at these squares that I drew. I drew a square here and a square here. But what I did was I shaded half here and 1/4 here. What do you notice about those two? I'm hoping you're saying that you're noticing that half is more than quarter, right? Because what we're doing is, think about it, if I have a cookie and I break it in half, then I give you half and I keep half. That's a decent size. But then what happens if I have to give it to 2 more of our friends? So now I have to break it in half, but then I have to take that half and break that in half again. So my piece ends up like this big. So that's what it looks like here. Today what you're going to be doing is you're looking at which one is bigger, which one is smaller. Now, what happens if I decide to change it? So what happens if I take this, I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to erase this. Actually, I'm just going to erase the whole board. So what happens if I do it like this? If I have my square here and my square here. Now what happens if I do them like this? Oops. Change that one. And I do it like that. Okay? So you'll notice that this is in 4 pieces. This is in 2 pieces. And I'm going to color in 1 piece here, and I'm going to color in 1 piece here. So again, my question is, which one is bigger? Again, the half is bigger. But remember, we read it from left to right, just like we do books. So I'm going to say 1/4 is less than 1/2. Or it's smaller, right? So that's what you're going to do today. Like I said, the lesson is not hard at all. You're going to be on problem set number 9, okay? And so again, it looks like this. What it says is, which shape has been cut into more equal parts? Well, this one's in 4, this one's in 2. Which one's more? 4, right? So 4 equal parts. Which shape has the larger equal parts? Well, you can tell by looking at the shaded area. This one here or this one here, which one's larger? That's right, B is larger. And then again, which one is smaller? Of course, this one's going to be smaller. That's what you're doing for these 3. I'm sure that's going to take you a whole 2 minutes to do. Not too bad. Now, when you flip the page, what it wants you to do is says, color part of the shape to match its label. So it wants you to here color 1/2 of the circle and 1/4 of the circle. Now, when you're doing this, they gave you a dot in the middle of it. So what you want to do is use that dot. So remember, if I'm going to color half, I can actually draw a line through the middle, and that splits it into half. This one here says 1/4. So I'm going to draw it down, and then I'm going to draw it across because I'm going to try to make it into 4 equal parts. Now, what it wants to know is, it says 1/2, is it bigger than 1/4, smaller than, or is it the same size as? And if you said it's bigger than, you're absolutely right. So that's what it wants you to do today. So remember 2 things, or actually 3 things. Halves are 2 equal parts, quarters 4 equal parts. And remember, you're reading from left to right. So if your shape is just like this, we would read this 1/2 is bigger than 1/4. Okay? So problem set number 9. And if you have any problems, please let us know.